Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Conaway. Welcome to Roberta's House Real Talk. Uh, this is a conversation about families healing together. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. I'm the lead program facilitator for Families Healing Together. I count it an honor and a privilege to work with Roberta's House and their mission to assist grieving families, children, and the community with the grieving process, the grief journey. What I'll be talking about today is basically the program overall and how it can impact our community and how it has impacted the community. Sorry about that. That being said, let me talk about how I got started with Roberta's House. In 2009, there was a presentation done by Annette Greer March with the Baltimore City Public School counselors. I happened to be in that meeting, and she talked about what the mission of Roberta's House was. And at that time, I said to myself, this is something that you can learn from, but also be a part of and share your skill set with also. So that being said, in 2009, I signed up. And in 2010 of January, I took the class to become a volunteer. It was a very interesting class. It gave you insight, parameters, and skills for working with people who are grieving. That was in 2010, and that's when I started. The good thing about it was I learned a lot. I was able to become a part of the Roberta's House family. And in addition, in the summer of 2010, I went to Camp Aaron with a couple of students from the school that I was teaching at. And it was a life-changing activity because we got to interact with people from all over who were dealing with things, the grief process, just like we were. I was dealing with it from being a volunteer, and the students were dealing with it from the person that died in their life. That being said, that's how everything started, and that's how I became a part of Roberta's House. Families Healing Together would also, at this point, like to acknowledge and send prayers out to the community on Labyrinth Road that had the explosion earlier in the day. That is, just to look at it, is surreal. Our prayers and thoughts go out to that community. I just wanted to say that. I have a PowerPoint today that I think is going to work. I hope so. I'm trying to click it. And it's not moving. But now it is. Okay. This is a picture of Roberta's House, which is currently located at 2510 St. Paul Street. Before COVID came along, the activities for most of the programs took place in this building. Because of COVID, we have gone virtual. So there's still things that are happening, but they're happening virtually. But this has been the home for Roberta's House for the last couple of years. I want to share with you, if I can, if it comes up, where Roberta's House is going to be located in the near future. So let me just click on this. And this is an aerial view. Some of you have probably seen it, but I think it's fantastic. All right. I hope you were able to see that footage because that's where Roberta's House new location is going to be. Now, I just talked about being a volunteer, but I wanted to share a photo of some Roberta's House volunteers and also volunteers that have been with Families Healing Together. This is a dynamic group of people. They volunteer for Roberta's House in general, but they're also a part of Families Healing Together. They have compassion, they have empathy, they have skill, and many of them have gone through the grief process themselves. So they have insight into it. They are a good group to work with. One of the things about the program, Families Healing Together, is that there may be some trepidation about participation. By that, I mean, when you're going through something, when you're grieving, when someone close to you has died, it can be a tremendous thing to deal with. And you may want to say to yourself, you know what? I just can't do it. But many people who have taken that step, that one step to become a part of a program for Roberta's House, once they have participated in activities, they say it's one of the best things that I have done. Because what we're trying to do is impart information, be supportive, and also let you know that you are not alone. I just want to give a definition about grief. Grief is the response to loss, particularly to the loss of someone or something that has died, to which a bond or affection was formed. There are physical, cognitive, behavioral, social, cultural, and physiological effects of loss. Now, I may have to move around just a little bit because I want to get to one thing that I may have done. Isolation versus together. In our title, Families Healing Together, this is something that is a tenet of the program. When you're isolated, often you think, there's nobody else who understands, there's nobody else going through the same things that you are going through. One of the things about the Families Healing Together program is that's not true because we are a group. There are families who are coming together to discuss issues that are germane to each person. Now, I was thinking about this whole presentation, and I said to myself, it struck me. I said, the grief journey is like a fingerprint. Everybody has a fingerprint, but each person has a unique fingerprint. That is how the grief journey is. It's like a fingerprint that we are all going through it together in the group, but it is unique to us. The way that we process things, the way that we deal with our emotions, it is a unique process. The journey is unique. Now, everybody has their journey, but my journey, your journey is unique to you. That's one of the things that I wanted to highlight. Let me go back and let me talk about, oops, just went past it. When we start off our session, we have a pledge, and it's right in front of you. I care for you, you care for me, and we care for each other. We say this 3 times. And at the beginning, people are getting the hang of it. Once you have gone through the session, or as you're going through the session, you will see, you will feel, and you will know that this is not just a pledge, idle words. It is something that supports and undergirds the program. Families Healing Together, as well as many of the other support programs that Roberta's House has. Because this pledge basically hones in on how you deal with your neighbor, how you change things by I care for you. I'm letting you know that I care for you. You care for me. We're in the same support group. We're getting to know one another. And like I said before, the grief journey, we're all going through the journey, but it is unique to each one of us, just like a fingerprint. And we care for each other. And we care for each other is a part that I stand by, because this is how you change community. This is how you change a community. This is how you show love. This is how you show empathy. This is how we deal with things that are coming up regarding how we deal with the death of someone that we love. Go to the next one. Now, in Families Healing Together, we have 4 groups. And our 4 groups, adults, they're 20 and over. We have the teen group, 13 to 19. We have the middles, ages 9 through 12. And we have the kiddos, 5 through 8. The one thing that the program focuses on is making sure that the activities, the things that we do are developmentally appropriate and allows the children and the adults, the family members, to express themselves. For example, we do a variety of activities. Each week we have a theme and a different task that we do. I'm just looking at one right now. For example, this is session 7, and we were doing a calm classroom. One of the things virtually and being in the center is that people are coming from various places, usually work, school, something like that. So we do a calming activity so that people can bring themselves down and center themselves so that they can be in the moment and work on the task and the activities that we have at hand. And also, we are thinking about the mind, spirit, body, breath balance. That's one of the things that we have talked about in especially our last session, which was virtual. That one of the sessions that we had, we dealt with the mind, spirit, body, and breath, how your breathing is affected by loss. It takes your breath away. From that moment on, things have changed. They will never be the same. But how do we deal with it? These are the things that we dive into in each one of the sessions. Many times people come to the sessions and they talk about how they feel like they're losing their mind, or they just feel like they're just, things are just so out of balance and they don't know what to do. One of the things that we discuss is you may not feel like things are normal and they're out of hand, but we talk about in depth what this process brings to the table. We talk about emotions. We talk about anger. We talk about hurt feelings. We talk about abandonment. We talk about joy, because there are memories that are joyful, things that happen, something that somebody may say. It may be a smell that comes over and it reminds you of your loved one. These are the things that we talk about and we discuss in our groups. Let me go to another slide. I don't know if I did it. Let me go back. I think I missed one. Here it is. Families Healing Together. So I've talked about the pledge. I talked about the activities that we do, and I wanted to just give you sort of like an overview of things that happen. It's 10 weekly sessions. They've been on Tuesdays. There are a variety of topics. For example, we talk about, like I said, anger. We talk about memories. We talk about new things, the new normal, for lack of a better term. The first activity or the first birthday, the first anniversary, the first after the death of a loved one. We talk about that. We talk about communication, how we communicate within our family, And remember what I said, that although we're a family, we have families, and the loved one has died, it affects and it impacts people differently, even within the family. Because within the family, if we go to the analogy of the fingerprint, each person in the family has a different fingerprint also. So with that, although, it's our fill in the blank, it's our uncle, it's our grandmother, it's our friend, and this person was the uncle to everyone. It impacts us differently. So those are the things that we talk about in each one of the sessions. How to deal with it, how to talk about it. And sometimes it's just to hear somebody else talk about it, how it's impacting them, and to hear the similarities and the differences allows us to support one another because we're listening with empathy. We're talking about what is happening to us, but the people in the group also are supportive because we are all going through this journey together, although uniquely. Let's put it that way. Going back to the volunteers, groups are guided by trained volunteers. Everyone is trained. Everyone has has had practice working with children, youth, and families throughout the grief process. We take it very seriously, and the volunteers take it very seriously. That's one of the things, the consistency of the volunteers really supports Families Healing Together and Roberta's House in general. We have a fantastic group of volunteers. One thing that I wanted to also talk about is interactive and activity-based activities. I said that twice. One of the things about it is that we want you to get involved. We want you to be a part. We want you to talk. Even though there's some nights you may not feel like talking, that's fine. You can get a pass, but we do want you, in later sessions to participate because that's how you get to what is really going on with you. And one thing that is a key to Families Healing Together is the journal. So if you can't say it out to the group or you don't want to say it out to the group, we encourage writing in your journal, putting it down, and dating it. Ms. Lucy would say, she makes sure for the adults, date your work so that you can do a compare and contrast as things go on. And in years to come, we hope you keep the journal and we hope you keep writing in it, writing your thoughts, writing your ideas down. That's one of the coping strategies that we talk about. The next one is group discussion. There are topics that we have planned and we want you all to discuss once you're a part of Families Healing Together. But also, sometimes there may be something that has happened in the community or something that is heavy on people's minds, and we will adapt, bring it in, deal with it, and see how we can integrate it into the curriculum that we have, because we are being responsive to what is actually going on to the program participants. And we want you all to know that we're supportive, not only by word, but by deed. All right, let's go to, I can't remember if I'm going back. I did the definition of grief. Those are our fantastic looking volunteers. That's our pledge. Remember, once we have the group together, we are broken up into adults, teens, middles, and kiddos. And those are our guiding ages for those groups. One thing that I can honestly say is that friendships have been built, relationships have been built from coming to group. Now, let's talk a few minutes about COVID. COVID sort of changed the game. You have to think of things differently, you have to respond differently, and you have to do things differently. So as we have gone forward since March, things have been virtual. And we have been working through how to work with the public and be responsive to the issues that people are facing, not only with just the death of a loved one, but if there's someone who has died during this pandemic, that's another issue. One of the things that's going on now, and I think they're coming to an end, but will start up in September, is in Prince George's County, virtually, they are doing their summer program, and that's a component of it, to talk about COVID, to talk about the feelings, the issues that are going on around us and how it's impacted us, in addition to maybe other things that are going on in society also. So that's one thing that Roberta's House strives to do, and that is to be responsive to the community. And I'm hoping, as I'm doing this, that you're thinking about participating in the upcoming September Families Healing Together. We will be broken into groups: adults, teens, middles, and kiddos. Let me go to this. Now, this is a fantastic group of program participants. This activity, it is Families Healing Together, and it's the middles. I Wear a Mask. Now, this is an activity that the program participants take various colors and they paint their mask. We talk about what color means, how it impacts us. And I believe they did it also, this group, they do the outside and the inside of the mask, because when you're going through the grief journey, there are things that you show the world, and then there are things that are close to your heart that you keep to yourself. We want to talk about that, what you are showing, how you're behaving, how you're feeling, what emotions are being brought to the surface. And we do it, like I said, in a developmentally appropriate manner. But this is a group of the middles that actually did that activity, and they're showcasing their talents in regards to being artists and also being a part of the group and sharing their feelings, emotions, and their camaraderie. Now, this also is an example of the same activity, I Wear a Mask, and it was done by the teens. One thing with the teens is that they are willing to learn, they're willing to share, they're willing to be themselves. And that is to open up after some time. It takes some time, but what I found is that when they're together, you hear them be supportive of one another. And they're an array of sounds, emotions. You hear laughter, there are tears. There's I'm your friend. I felt, what you are going through. I thought I was all by myself. I'm glad you're here. You hear positive comments like that, not only with the teens, because you can hear them throughout, but as we go into and as we travel the grief journey, these are the types of comments that you do hear, and it is supportive. One thing that I'll say, and I'll speak as a volunteer, having been a volunteer and now being the coordinator of the program, is that a lot of times the families think, the individuals think that they're coming to Roberta's House and we are assisting them. One of the things that I would highlight on a marquee is that it's not a one-way street. The volunteers are invigorated and supported by the program participants through the dialogue, through the discussion, being there for one another. And at the end of the 10 weeks, we have some type of activity to discuss how we're feeling, to analyze where we started and where we are now. Many people have come through Roberta's House and gone through the volunteer process, because it strikes you, it hits you in a place where you know how you felt when you were going through your journey, the beginning steps of your journey, and now you feel the difference and you want to touch as many people as possible to let them know that yes, it's a difficult thing, it's a life-changing thing, but there are things that we can do to work through it, to work through it. So this is an example of some of the artwork that the teens did right before the pandemic. Right before the pandemic. Okay. Let's go to, do I want to go to that one? Yeah, I'll go through that. Families healing together, the takeaway. And I may talk about a few other things, but I just want to go through this. There's some goals and objectives that we have at Roberta's house. And one of the main objectives happen to be probably coming on these 4 points. Understanding grief. We want people to leave the program, Families Healing Together, and even other programs, and understand the process of grief. Because many people say, I had no idea. I had no idea that, and then we can fill in the blank, that I would have emotions that go up and down. You know, some days I feel happy, other days I'm extremely low. Is it bad that I feel happy sometimes? And no, it's not. No, it's not. We talk about communication, how to communicate within the family so that there's an understanding. There's sometimes when parents think that, oh, perhaps we just, we'll act like it, we're not going to talk about it. But communication, because children are thinking also, children are observing also. And to strike up a dialogue with them can garner rich discussion and insight into thinking, behavior, and emotions. So understanding grief. 2, having 3 or more coping strategies. So through the activities that we do throughout the 10 weeks, one of the things we start off with is letting every program participant know that we want you to come away with at least 3. It could be more than 3, but at least 3 coping strategies to help you when you are angry, when you feel disillusioned, when you are emotional, or whatever you feel, anxiety. It could be a combination of things. We want you to come away with 3 coping strategies. That being said, many of them are showcased through the activities that we do. So, as you saw through the artwork, some people like artwork. They're good artists. And some people, they might not be good artists, but they just like to use the color in various ways. That's what we do in Families Healing Together. I was talking to an artist, Kimmy, hope I'm giving you a shout out, Kimmy, Kim Boston, a graduate from MICA who works with Roberta's House. And she and I had a discussion about just art in general. And we may think, that art is, drawing and all of that, but the way you throw your scarf around, that's art. The way you match your earrings to, your outfit, that's art. When you see people with elaborate nails and somebody took the time to draw, a sunscape or a moon or something like that, that's art. When you see pictures hanging on the wall, it's a variety of things. Just like the I wear a mask and the mask that you saw, that's art. So art is one of the things that's intertwined. We want the children to do, not the children, but the whole family to do various activities to express themselves through art. That's one way. Another way is by doing activities, and not necessarily art activities, but for example, in our last session, we did yoga. We had Miss Kathy and Mr. Michael work with us on breath and yoga poses. And the kiddos and middles really enjoyed themselves, and the adults did too. So that may be something, a technique that learning how to breathe, learning how to breathe and learning how breath impacts us. Another coping strategy, and that we do in the sessions. There are other things like listening to music. Uh, Josh, I want to say hello to you. He was in one of our teen groups while we were in the center, and Josh composed a song that I thought was fantastic. He is a musician, and he shared his gift with me. I gave him a task, and he shared it with me. So whatever it is that you can use to assist you in dealing with the grief process and just life strategies in general, take those same coping strategies and use them. You know, whatever speaks to you. It may not be art, it may not be music, it may be writing, because the journaling is a coping strategy also. So whatever it is, as we go through the various things throughout the 10 weeks, we want everybody to come away with 3 clear-cut activities that they can say, you know what, somebody cut me off in traffic, and what I did was I did the countdown. I started from 15 and I counted it on down, and I brought myself on down. Whatever the technique or strategy may be, we encourage it. Everything is not going to speak to you, but whatever does, pick at least 3, and it could be more than 3, but we say at least 3 as a goal to do that. Knowing you are a member of Roberta's House family. Once you have participated in the program at Roberta's House, you are a member of the family. And by that, we just let you know that activities that we have throughout the year, you're invited to. Different calls maybe that just may go out to see how you're doing, because not only are we here just for the support groups, but we're community. We have community activities. There are things that we do to support the community. Some are just individual days. Other activities are, like Families Healing Together, 10 weeks. So you will become a part of Roberta's House family. And the last thing on this slide, each member of the group supports other group members. That's something that I think everybody pretty much goes away with, that you have been supportive of the group and the group has been supportive of you. And by that, that's how you build a community. That's how you become family. All right. Let me go to community resources. So recently, you may have heard of the Warm Line. I'm just going to read it. If you're feeling anxious, depressed, or just need someone to talk to due to the current pandemic, call 211 or 443-608-9182 directly, and you will be connected with a representative who can help. The Warm Line representative will listen to your concerns and refer you to any additional resources you may need. The Warm Line rep will be available weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The reason that I'm highlighting this is because Roberta's House does not just work in isolation. Remember that word isolation from the beginning? We work with the community. So the community, pro bono counseling, has the Warm Line. We want to make sure that if there's some things that you're going through, this is a resource where you can call, you can get information. It's supported by the United Way, and it's there. And that's, I actually called 211 because I wanted to find out for a client about, it was a food giveaway. That's what it was. It was food giveaway, which was not the Warm Line at the time. The Warm Line started in June. This was just 211. So 211, the Warm Line, make sure that you write it down, share it with a friend, because it could be a point of entry for inquiries that you may have about different things that are going on in the community. All right, so that's Pro Bono Counseling Project. One thing also about Families Healing Together, if there are things that we know about in the community, we share it. So this is one thing virtually that definitely would be shared. Let me go back one. And I also wanted to say this, full disclosure, I am a member of Pro Bono Counseling Project, and that is a organization where clinicians donate their time to provide counseling and therapy to the community. There are some guidelines for it, but if it's something that you're interested in, please give them a call. It's 410-825-1001, Pro Bono Counseling Project. It's for people who do not have insurance or do not have access to counseling. That's the group that it serves. Okay, so there's the warm line. I did isolation versus together. Oops, let's go back to one. This is a public service announcement. Many times we may feel just any day, pick any day, not empowered. One thing that I wanted to say, this is a public service announcement, vote. This is an opportunity where you can, take and be empowered and vote. I came up with the acrostic, voicing our thoughts through the election. Everybody who's 18 and over can do it. If you are 18 and you have not registered to vote, please do so. It's very important for our community. Families Healing Together Fall 2020 virtual session. If this is something that you're interested in, please call Roberta's House at 410-235-6633 to register for the Fall 2020 Families Healing Together program. Or if you have questions about any other activities at Roberta's House, please give us a call. Someone will answer the phone or we'll get back with you, because we want to connect the community with as many opportunities for support services as possible. At this point, let me just check, because I don't know if we have any questions. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes they pop up in the queue. I don't want to overlook anybody or anyone. I want to say much success to Camp Aaron. Camp Aaron is the camp that usually takes place, I think it's the second week in August. The one that I started off with in 2010 is going to be virtual. And it's starting, I believe, the 13th, 14th, and 15th. I think we're at capacity. So we've got a good group of campers that will be participating in the activities virtually. I'm wishing them much success. Thank you very much for being with me for the conversation. Let me scroll it back. This is just some of the things that we talked about. This has been Kim Conaway, licensed clinical professional counselor, who is also the lead program facilitator for Families Healing Together program. If you have any questions that you might think of later, just call Roberta's House and you can say, I'd like to speak to Kim, or can I give Kim a message? I will call you back. This is a program that really I believe in. It has assisted many families to go through the grief process together and support the community. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, give Roberta's House a call, and perhaps in the future, we'll do another one of these. Have a good one. Thank you so much. Be safe and be hopeful.